This is a little update on my sharpening station, and I don't want to get too sappy on you, but when I started woodworking about 30 years ago in my first home that I bought, it used to be in my grandmother's house. Anyway, my idea of woodworking back then was I had a shopsmith and a shop vac. I still have the very same shop vac, but that was my dust collection, and that was my table saw, my sander, my whatever. That was everything that I thought I ever would need for woodworking. And as most woodworkers know, your shop is in constant evolution. And I've gone from the 5-in-1 tool to individual tools to and now a sharpening station. And just getting back to on point here is, when I bought tools, I thought when I bought them they were sharp, and if you needed them to be sharpened, you had to take them to a professional to get them sharpened, and whatever they gave you back, that was, you didn't know any different. That was sharp. Well, and also back in the day there was no such thing as YouTube and all that other stuff, and if I was getting started in woodworking today with the wealth of information that's out there, and I could start with a shop like I have now and build from this, it would be incredible. So what I'm going to show you here is my sharpening station and the evolution that this thing has gone through. So originally, I just built a cart. Basically, this is an old piece of, not an old, but a piece of granite from the sink cut out for our upstairs kitchen when we built this house. So I made sure that stayed here. That became my top. This was a ledge that I had out here, and on the ledge, when I wanted to flatten the back of a chisel or a plane iron, I would rest my stone on that ledge like this out here. And you can see that my ledge is not as wide as my stone, and that can cause a little trouble when you get out too far. You'll want to roll that over, and it'll drop off on you, or not drop, but it'll feel like it wants to drop, and you got to stop what you're doing and kind of relocate. So my sharpening station has evolved to what I have here now. This is my piece of extrusion here. It's metric, I believe, or it's 15 millimeters, so that's just a hair over a ½ inch, and this is 1 inch thick granite. So when I put my stone on here, the top of the surface for this stone is just above the granite, which is nice. If I want to run something out here, I know it's not going to fall off, and I can get the back nice and flat, or I can do it out here on the outside as well. So that works out pretty nice. So you see here, this is my sharpening jig. It's a prototype of the jig that we sell. I still swear by that. But the new ones, the ones we sell are, this is no rap on Alan's welding skills, but they are so much better because of the way they're put together with the mortise and tenon joinery, basically, and everything is lined up and it's true. And but this thing still works fantastic for me. So that's my jig. And what I've done here is, with this extrusion now, I'm able to put a stone in here, and this incidentally is a piece of white oak, 2 pieces of white oak that white oak is a water resistant wood, so it's not going to break down on me. But even if it does get wet, I'm not worried about it. But I'll take this off here in a second and show you what I've made here. So these are identical pieces here. And you can see that they're shaped to go up and over the granite. And then this is thin enough now that it doesn't interfere with the jig and allows me full use of the stone. So it's just pretty simple stuff, but that goes on here. And that also then that gives me the ability to move these along this rail. Let me loosen this up. These are a couple of homemade UHMW stops. So this gives me the ability to slide this along the rail and position it wherever I want and hold my stone. So I've got it positioned here so that I can get behind it on the end here and work it this way. And then this just locks it in place. Okay, so now that isn't going to move on me. There's a little wiggle this way because I've got it wide enough to accept this stone along with a diamond stone that I have. You see that fits pretty perfectly, and there's no wiggle that way. These are the same length but different widths. Okay, so I can go from the diamonds to the ceramic, or if I really have something that, let me get this out of the way now, or if I really have something that's messed up, you know, I can put my sandpaper down and establish my bevel that way. And incidentally, let me just show you down here what I've got going on. So down in my cupboard there basically is, this is some slide out shells. Got my sandpaper up. I don't know, it just fell down and I'll find it, but it's my sandpaper, my other DMT stones. These could go in here as well. I could adjust these arms back to accept this, so these won't slide. You know, I obviously I won't use the full length of that, but that's how nice these things are. I think it's going to be nice to use because it gives me this adjustability. And then, you know, in my drawer here, I just got, you know, just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff basically. Extra plane irons and things like that. So that's kind of, I just want to show you this, the evolution of my sharpening jig. Like I say, I can move this out here to flatten the backs and just get my work done on whatever I need to sharpen. So I'm gonna pull out a chisel and go to work on it, and we'll see how it works out here with these new adjustable arms I've got here. Now you talk about old, or yeah, I guess old. This is the first set of chisels I ever bought. Bought them at a hardware store 30 years ago probably. And I think the blades were probably up to here. Or this one anyway was up a little higher. So I'm going to take this chisel here, and you can see how bad it is. And I'm going to go to work on this thing. These are just utilitarian chisels that I have that I use them for construction work, you know, chopping 2x4s or whatever. Just when I really don't care what happens to the edge. But I'm going to sharpen this chisel, and let's just see how I can do with this with my new setup here. Let's do some before pictures as close as I can, or the best I can do to get focused here. There. Yeah, and you can see the back. I mean, I did spent some time on this a while ago, flattening that. But we'll pay a little more attention to it today here and see what we can do to it. So before, and then we'll look at after in a minute. Okay, I got the chisel mounted in my jig and tightened down. When I put my whatever tool I'm working on in the jig, I just eyeball this edge to see that if it's perpendicular or parallel. Perpendicular this way and parallel to the edge this way. And then when I start sharpening, I make little fine adjustments to see where I'm at. Now you can't, let me see if I can zoom in on this. Hopefully that'll come through. Maybe I gotta get a little bit lower. Let me adjust the camera here a bit. Okay, you can see daylight on the back side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the jig until that disappears. Get this out here a little bit. That's pretty close right there. I don't know if that's got a hollow ground on it or not. I'm going to find out. Maybe just a little bit more. There. Alright, we'll start with that. Now, to see where I am, I like to take a magic marker, and I really probably don't need to do it in this case, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think the camera will pick it up better this way. Okay, so I just darken the surface that I'm going to sharpen. Fill it with magic marker. And then I'm going to spray my stone here and give it a couple of pushes. And I like to grip my jig out here on the end and put pressure down on the tool. I can tell that I'm a little, it's hitting this corner first. Yeah, let me, I think I need to adjust that a little bit. Hang on one second. Yeah, I think I've got an angle there this is not square. But let me run it, let's see where we're at. So I'm starting here with extra fine because my tool's in pretty good shape, at least I think it is. And there you can see, as I pull it off, that I've got that angle pretty good, well, not as good as I thought. You can see where I'm wearing there, right through here. That's okay. So I'm a little on the heel, so I'm going to dial it up just a little bit so I can get back toward the front where I belong. Let me grab a towel here, sorry. Okay, now you can see I'm out on the front where I belong. So let's do it a few more strokes. And I'm putting pretty good pressure down on this. Because it is a diamond stone and I'm looking to shape this edge pretty quickly. That's doing a pretty good job. The other thing I like about this is it gives you a place to rest your tool on this wood, you know, so you don't have to put it on the granite. I didn't really give that much thought when I was building the thing. But there we go. So what I was going to do here is I want to put some marker on this edge again and see for sure where I'm at. I can show you better. I think we're going to find that this is going to leave the backside blue. Well, actually it took pretty much all of it. So that's good news actually. I'm working this whole face. So a few more strokes here. Oh, sounds like I was hitting something there. I mean, that's pretty sharp already. But let's just refine it quick here. So that's a diamond stone that's fine. I'm going to just take that out of there. And now I'm going to put in, let me grab my other ones down here. I don't want to go right to my finished stone there. But I'm gonna skip from, well, I'm not either. I'm going to go to this 1500. Water. Now this is higher than this. So I have to dial this up. And from experience, it's usually about one turn. So I'm just going to do one turn. I'm not even going to look at it. And I'm going to run it and see where I am. Yeah, that's pretty good. Bring it up. I'm going to bring it up a quarter of a turn more. And you can see that I'm able to use this whole stone without anything getting in my way at all. And I really like that. Yeah, by going up a quarter of a turn, you can now see that line right there. That I'm working this part of the tool and not this part. So I'm going to keep going for a little bit more. I know I don't have to. I mean, that's sharp out there right there. But I'm going to keep moving for a few more strokes. This isn't taking all that long. For one thing, the tool was in pretty good shape to start with. Didn't look like it, but I guess it was. Okay, you can see how long that took. Not very. And now I've got that reduced to that little triangle right there. Alright, so I've switched stones again. Done with this one. Just set that back here. Go to a 5000. And incidentally, these stones, you only use one side, the side that doesn't have any print on it. So this is the down side. The printed side goes down. Drop that in there. A little water and simple green. I'll just I'm not changing, no, this time I'm not changing the height of my gauge, of my sharpening jig, I should say. I'm just gonna run this a few strokes and see what kind of a polish I get here. Yowzer. Okay, that's only 5,000. But for a lot of guys, and for this chisel, I might say that's good enough. But we're going to keep going like it's, you know, Swiss-made chisel, and we're going to sharpen it right to the bitter end here. In great shape, and it didn't take all that long. I'm going to switch stones again. Done with this. I'm going to my 15,000. Again, a little water. Not much. I'm going to put this on there. And I'm going to dial this up just 1/8 of a turn is all. Because I want to get right to the edge here. Hopefully you'll be able to see that line. I mean, you could call this a micro bevel. I'm not. I'm still calling it a primary. Wow. There you go. That is fantastic. And that is sharp. And I can see that it is polished all the way across to a beautiful, beautiful mirror finish. I'm going to hit it just a few more strokes. I can't even feel any wire edge back there. Wire burr, I should say. A few more strokes. And then I want to show you how quickly I can take this off and go right to polishing the back. Now yeah, that's done. If I wanted to, I could leave it in the jig and polish the back this way. If I wanted to go back and forth, but with this tool, I'm not going to do that. So take the stone out, put it over here. I gotta locate my stop. Now I'm just going to polish the back. Let's go over this way. And what you're watching here is, this is real time. I'm not going to edit anything out of this one. I'm looking for my, what the heck is my little Allen wrench here? There it is. I'm going to back this up. There. A little more of this. And a little bit of this. Yeah, you can see I'm not polishing the edge right up by the cutting edge there. This chisel is not perfectly flat. So I'm going to work it more off the stone and closer to the, so I get closer to that edge. But you can see how nice this is. It's holding that stone, it's fully supported. There we go. I'm telling you, that's as sharp as can be. It's beautiful. So now let's do the after picture. Let's see if I can kind of get to the same spot I was before. This is after. Are we focused in on that? There. There we go. In the back. All right. Thanks for watching. I should have shown this when I was doing this on the fly, but I went from, I started this chisel out because it had a pretty good nick in it with coarse, a diamond, to fine, to then my 1500 grit ceramic, and now I'm on my 5000. But when I got to this stone, I dialed my jig up a 1 turn like I did before, but I was still on the heel. I dialed it up again a half a turn, and I ended up right where I needed to be. I don't know of any other jig that's out there on the market that you're able to adjust your angles so easily and quickly and just get this thing done. So I'm leaving this alone now. I'm going to see where I'm at. I'm not using any marker or anything this time. You get to the point where you do this often enough, you can read the surface and tell exactly what you're doing and where you're at with the jig. And that metal is telling me that I'm right where I need to be. It's polishing up across the whole face. I'm a little light on this edge, which I tend to be because I'm right-handed. I have to learn to put just a little more pressure on this side than the right hand. So I'm going to push down a little harder now on my left hand. And I'm not really pushing with down with my right hand at all. I'm just pushing the dig forward and pulling it back with my right. And you can see my stones drying up here a little bit. And that's the other nice thing about these ceramic stones, is that they don't load up on you. I mean, you can tell when they're getting dry. There you go. That's polished up pretty well. This is my 1-inch wide chisel. And I did with this chisel what I should have done with my 3/4, and I started on the back first. I hit that before I put it in the sharpening jig. So I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, if I was just sharpen these normally, this would be good enough for this chisel, I'll tell you that. Okay, we'll get this one out of the way. And we will go to the 15,000 with this. Again, I'm going just 1/8 of a turn. And I've got the back of my jig on the knob here. I've got a little mark. So I'm just dialing it up just a hair so that I can get to work on the edge I want here. And polish that up. Now you can see what I mean about reading the metal. Hopefully you can see. But you can see here where it's dull in the back. Right through here. And this up here is polished. Now some of you would call that a micro bevel. I'm just calling it my primary. I'm going to hit it a few more times. Even though I know I do have an edge, I've got a perfect edge, to be honest with you. I know that for a fact already. I'm just polishing it back some more, that's all. And I'm not really putting all that much pressure on this now. I'm polishing, so it's just very light pressure. You can see, even by the color of the stone here, I'm not removing all that much metal. Alright, I'm going to call that good. That is beautiful and sharp. Now I'm going to hit the back again. Backside. Inside. Sharp. Looks like after I'm reading the metal now, it looks like I missed this corner just a little bit. But for what I do with this chisel, I don't care about that at all. That'll be very, very surfaceable. Wow. Beautiful. I got to give a credit to the jig, a lot of the credit to the jig, and a lot of credit to the stones. But, you know, sharpening is not something that we look forward to doing because it is a bit of work. But this jig takes a lot of that work out of it, I'll tell you that. Alright, again, thanks for watching. This is just one last parting shot. Those things they've never been that sharp before, I'll tell you that. 30 years old, and look at the edge I can put on them.